people are talking about the fact that you have these billionaires who are, well, some of them were adversaries, actively campaigning against Trump, you could say, for many of his years prior to now, um, away from the presidency, and now they are cozying up to him. Now, I don't really, in a practical sense, see anything wrong with that, even if that is in fact the case, because he's going to be the next president of the United States, which is said to be the most powerful position you could have in global politics. Why wouldn't a successful leader of multiple businesses and employer of many, a successful billionaire business person, not want to be in good standing with the president of the United States? So that kind of, to me, seems it makes practical sense. If they weren't doing that, if they was in opposition to him, as some of them were prior to recent changes that are taking place, that would be odd, because if they do a good job and it benefits the American people and the population at large as a whole, what's the problem with that? So, they're using terminology like oligarchs and things like that, which kind of it kind of yeah, it sort of adds a flavor to the whole narrative, makes it sound like there's something untoward going on. So just don't see the well, at least from my humble perspective, the issue with powerful and successful people wanting to work alongside one another to get favorable advantages. I mean, on a more comical, like from a more comical angle, yeah, if you're in the opposition and then you kind of like, change your stance that drastically and do a complete turnaround, then it goes back to the old saying, people used to use the old phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. Practical sense, like I said, I don't see what's wrong with that. So we could look at a few clips here which kind of give examples of that. See what you think.
That, at least as far as we know, has never before seen in history.
On that score, I would say it's hardly surprising. Yeah, it's without parallel on a scale not seen before. I do believe Donald Trump's character and his bigness and approach and everything he does is also without parallel on a scale never seen before. That's why he won the election with such a huge landslide. He's a big, galvanizing character.
And Trump is already rewarding his big donors with consequential roles and what amounts to a brazen selling of government positions. According to a CNN analysis, nearly 36 of Trump's key administration picks were donors to his campaign. Now, of course, rewarding supporters with positions, that is also nothing new. But the size and scope here are truly without parallel. So for comparison, Joe Biden staffed his admin with 12 people who had previously donated to his campaign or affiliated groups. But where those 12 combined for contributions of about $100,000, Trump's key picks, they combined for $37 million in, and now has this powerful whole of government position to remake the entire federal government to suit his personal whims and desires. Yes, American oligarchy has been a long time in the making, but in the incoming administration, it is in full bloom like never before. And you can see the telltale signs, both in government molding itself to serve favored oligarchs and in the behavior of wealthy elites who are vying for status as favored oligarchs. Toward that end, we've already been witness to some shameful billionaire groveling. According to NPR, major Silicon Valley executives like Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sam Altman, who had previously been Trump adversaries, are dishing out millions to the Trump inauguration in order to curry favor with the incoming president. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff says he is, quote, turning the page on his Trump relationship, and I'm sure it doesn't hurt that Time magazine, owned by Benioff, just declared Trump Person of the Year. Silicon Valley historian Margaret O'Mara told NPR, quote, "Taken together, the donations and other celebratory gestures showcase an industry kissing the ring of an incoming president in hopes of something in return. It's just a recognition that there's not much to be gained in opposition, but perhaps there is something to be gained by being very clear about your support and hope that Trump does well." Now, Trump himself yesterday actually commented on this shameless groveling. Let's take a listen to that.
Did you talk about tariffs in that meeting?
Meeting with who?
Apple CEO Tim Cook.
I did have dinner with Tim Cook. I had dinner with sort of almost all of them, and the rest are coming. And this is one of the big differences, I think, between, we were talking about it before, one of the big differences between the first term. In the first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something. But I had, as you know, I had Sundar from Google, but I also had Sergey. Nobody reported that. Sergey is the owner, the primary owner, along with his friend, as you know. And Sergey was here also. I can't believe you didn't pick that one up. Nobody picked that up. But I will tell you, no, it's a big difference. The big difference is that the first time everybody was fighting me.
No, Mr. Trump, I don't think your personality changed, but apparently their self-interested calculus did. And they all went in on the spoils of government largesse and to avoid getting crosswise with the new regime. So, what does rule by a cabal of billionaires actually look like? Well, effectively, the project is a familiar one. It's rugged individualism for you and pampered coddling for the favored few. They want to strip away all powers of the government to curb corporate excess while juicing their own tax cuts, subsidies, and contracts. For a more granular view of how this project will operate.
Look, the thing is, with my layperson sense of understanding these things, isn't this what goes on anyway and has always gone on in politics since the beginning of time? As in, the richest, most powerfulest people have quite a large say in what happens in the political arena, except they just do it in the shadows. And on this occasion, they're having to come out in the open because it appears that's the way Trump wants to do business. Almost full disclosure, and with the kind of transparency I think Biden suggested that he was going to be operating his administration, although it kind of seems like it went in the other direction. So it seems to me that Trump is operating at the moment with as much transparency as possible, and then the naysayers and the media people who are looking for things they can trip him up on, or hidden secrets. It's just not that much hidden because he's putting it out there and allowing people to see what's going on as it's going on. Obviously, there's some things that are going to be on a need to know basis. That's just how any complex organization operates. This doesn't seem too unusual. I just think the way it's reported on is what's unusual, where the exact same actions on one hand is made to look like it's a terrible thing, and then when the favorable party is behaving in that way, it's made to look like, oh yeah, it's just another day at the office. So there you have
Went
it.
in on the spoils of government largesse and to avoid getting crosswise with the new regime. So, what does rule by a cabal of billionaires actually look like? Well, effectively, the project is a familiar one. It's rugged individualism for you and pampered coddling for the favored few. They want to strip away all powers of the government to curb corporate excess while juicing their own tax cuts, subsidies, and contracts. For a more granular view of how this project will operate, one person you should pay attention to is Silicon Valley investor Mark Andreessen. Now, Andreessen says that he has been spending half his time in Florida with Trump, helping to staff and guide the incoming administration. He is also a close buddy of Elon, an ally, having invested hundreds of millions in Elon's various ventures and having backed him in his Twitter takeover. In a podcast with Barry Weiss, Andreessen confirmed that he's advising Trump on tech, business, economics, and the, quote, success of the country, and is also helping staff up Musk's Doge commission. Andreessen and Musk have both been on Florida with Trump, helping to staff and guide the incoming administration. He is also a close buddy of Elon, an ally, having invested hundreds of millions in Elon's various ventures and having backed him in his Twitter takeover. In a podcast with Trump on tech, business, economics, and the, quote, success of the country, and is also helping staff up Musk's Doge commission. Andreessen and Musk have both been upfront about their plan to undercut any government regulator that has ever stood in their or their portfolio companies, in the case of Andreessen's, way. They are taking aim at the CFPB, which has been inconvenient for some of Andreessen's scammier portfolio investments, the SEC, which has had the gall to check Elon on alleged stock manipulation, and furthermore has tried to protect people from crypto scams, and the NLRB, which allows workers to form unions. In addition, the incoming Trump administration is taking aim at specific regulations that the ascendant oligarchs find inconvenient. Reuters has reported that the Trump transition team is recommending elimination of an automated vehicle crash reporting requirement that has proven irksome to Tesla. Now, you can see why Elon might not be a fan of this particular provision, according to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. 40 out of the 45 fatal crashes that were reported to the agency under this provision involved a Tesla, including an accident where a driver using autopilot careened into a tractor trailer and another where a Tesla hit a fire truck, killing the driver and injuring 4 firemen. And the Trump transition team describes this data collection as, quote, excessive. But it proved extremely valuable in agency investigations, which led to 2023 Tesla safety recalls. In other words, the data collection was good for public safety, but it was bad for Elon.
Look, like any venture, this could all go south. Until such time, why not look at it from a positive perspective and, you know, just reduce the casting of doubt on everything? I know Crystal is explaining it as best as she can with her personal, for want of a better word, biases taken into account. Um, this is what Biden has been doing for the last 4 years. There was an elite group of wealthy, privileged power brokers, him and his team being amongst those said people, and they enjoyed a privileged experience in contrast to the ordinary masses. What's so strange about that? I mean, yes, face the facts of the matter. The guy can't do everything by himself, can he? I mean, he's going to have some people to delegate tasks to and to assist him. This is a presidential administration. Somebody's got to work with him, whether you like them or not. Okay, enough of that for now. Look, just see what happens and then go from there. Why not try that for a start? So there you have it. I believe we'll see a lot more of this. It will be presented in the media, in some cases as a negative thing, and in other cases as a favorable maneuver. Teams are being formed. Trump is not the first Donald Trump. When he had just entered the White House the first time and he was new to politics, he's learned a lot. He's been double crossed. He's seen how murky that environment can be and how people really truly behave. And he's making his choices I think more thought out, coming from a rise ahead, and he's picking his team more. I don't know if carefully is the right word. Yes, just say he's picking them from a wiser head, you could say. Anyway, you've been here with Owen Rajai once again here at Corner Speak. Be good, be safe if you can, and if you can, be creative. We out. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to let me know what you feel in the comments, like, subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Again, we out.